I'm Nikita Turk.
I'm Spencer Tierney.
And today we're answering your banking questions from Reddit. Should we just hop right into it?
Let's go.
All right. Best savings accounts for children. My son just turned 1 and I've been putting this off for way too long. I mean, he's 1, so not that long, but okay. Most websites I look at just seem like ads for whatever account they are trying to sell. We live in Virginia, if that makes any difference. Are there any suggestions?
Yeah, I usually think of 3 things. So you want to make sure you can avoid monthly fees, that you can maybe get a high savings rate, and then also maybe find tools for financial literacy for your kid. And you might not find all 3 at the same place, but try. It's at least a good starting measure. And you might go with just a regular bank account. It doesn't have to market as kids. You also might decide to be a custodian or the guardian for an account until your kid is of age to take over the account. There are a lot of different options, but I wouldn't say there's one particular bank out there. Just go forth.
You mentioned banking literacy for kids. Is there like a certain age that you kind of think to introduce that concept?
Yeah, I think it depends. I would say like when you're very young, maybe look into how to build up savings goals and savings. And then when you're a little older, you can start to spend. So you maybe want to learn how allowance transfers work or like things like that.
Okay, see? When it comes to setting your kids up for future financial success, the earlier you're able to start, the better. The key is to teach the kiddos smart money habits young so that they are prepared to make the most of invested funds in the future. So Spencer, there's a lot of questions around switching banks. Are there any downsides, short or long term, to switching banks?
Yeah, so short term, it's a hassle to switch banks. I mean, you're looking at changing your direct deposits, subscriptions, like recurring transfers, activity alerts on your account, whatever like you had set up before, now you have to do it again. So that's a little bit of a hassle. Long term, I would say that, you want to keep your options open. You might have better banking opportunities elsewhere. You don't want to feel stuck and like give in to the inertia of like, well, I've had this account since I've been a child, so I might as well just keep it. You want to like actually consider, are you paying any costs you don't need to? Can you get a better rate elsewhere? Do you have a little bit more convenience, whether customer support or ATM network at a different bank? So just keeping your options open is great.
Okay, so I'm actually embarrassed to say this, but I'm guilty of that, of being so comfortable with your financial institution. You've been with them for so long. All my auto payments were set up with this credit union. I had it since I was like 16. But looking at those interest rates, I finally was like, what am I doing? Like, it's worth this, couple of hours of hassle to switch over all my account.
Yeah, and also it's not always an either or decision either. Like you can just add a new account, see how you like it, and then maybe transfer the rest. Honestly, I'm guilty of having 2 different sets of checking and savings accounts at 2 different banks, and I've had it for like maybe 5 years.
Okay.
And it's helpful in some ways, brick and mortar and online, but like I don't think it's not always an either or decision.
Excellent. So you can keep both.
Yeah, why not?
If you're feeling that your current bank is no longer serving your needs, finding a new one could be a smart move. In general, it might be time to go if your savings account interest rate hasn't increased recently, you're paying unnecessary fees, or you just don't feel like you're getting the quality of service or features from the bank that you'd like. All right, so since we're talking about switching banks, let's talk about how to do that.
Yeah.
How to change banks. I wanted to get some advice on possibly switching banks. Right now I'm with BOA and have been for about a decade, for a credit card with them, and I have a Merrill Lynch account. How do you switch banks?
Yeah, for sure. I would say that 5 steps. 1, look around for a new bank account at a different bank or credit union. And, make sure you're looking for like the, no monthly fees, no TM fees, that kind of thing. Next, you want to open that bank account. 3rd, make a list. This can be a hassle, but make a list of all your recurring transfers, activity alerts, direct deposits, subscriptions, all that. 4th, actually go through and like make that happen on your new account and set up all that. And then 5th, close that old account. And this might take a few months or even a year. If you have that annual bill, you're not sure when it hits and you can't fully find it in your monthly statements to like check when exactly where it is and how to transfer it. It might take a while.
So how do you actually close an account? Do you need to go down to the brick and mortar location? Do you do it online? Do you call someone?
Yeah, that is a good logistical question. I would say that it really depends on the bank. Look online, they usually have FAQ on this. If they don't, then your best bet is honestly to call customer support and just see how you can do it. Sometimes maybe you can do it over the phone, but in general, yeah, you just want to go with what the bank says.
Okay, so there's been a lot going on with banks failing in the news lately, and obviously people have concerns. There's a little bit of nervousness around there. So we have a question here. Explain like I'm 5. What actually happens if a bank crashes? Do you lose all your savings?
You don't.
Good.
Basically, yeah. The bank is like a business. It fails, but because it's a bank, what that means is that it can't pay back its debts or it can't give all the money back from bank accounts. And then the FDIC, a government agency, will swoop in to protect your assets. The FDIC insurance is up to $250,000, but ideally, and what we've seen for the most recent bank failures, is that the FDIC is really trying to make sure another bank buys your bank. And then you can just proceed with your banking as usual.
So since we're kind of talking about bank failures, this next person said, my bank broke up with me and closed my account. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
A moment of silence for that failed relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
But is that normal? Can your bank just close your account like that without a warning?
It can. It's not like the most common thing, but it is a matter of business for a bank if there's a risk to that customer. So it could be they detected fraud or suspicious activity in the accounts. It could be that you haven't had your account used in a while, like inactivity for maybe even a year or two. And then also maybe you had overdraft fees. So when your account goes below zero, they may charge a fee for that. And in those cases, if you don't pay back those fees, then you're looking at negative balances. Bank's like, okay, this is a risk to us. We're gonna close this account. So any of those three things can happen. It's not good. You wanna make sure to resolve it. Otherwise, there's a lot of chain reaction that can happen where you might end up on check systems, consumer agency, where it reports to other banks that you might be a risky customer. So you want to avoid that or resolve it when you can.
So would you recommend if someone's account was closed for something like this that they call the bank and try to work it out directly with them?
Yeah, I understand that everyone might not have the money at hand. So work with your bank or work with someone around your credit you can get advice on, just to see if you can either pay back the debts if you have any or otherwise resolve with your bank.
A bank closing an individual account can happen a bit more often than a bank failure and usually as a result of fraud, excessive overdrafts on the account, or a number of other reasons. If that happens to you, try working with your bank's customer service for clarity on why your account was closed and steps to take to ensure you receive a check for the funds. So those are your Reddit questions. Spencer, at the end of the day, when it comes to the scary idea of a bank failing or switching banks, what do you think are the most important things for people to keep in mind?
Yeah, just make sure your bank has FDIC insurance. Almost all banks do. And at credit unions, make sure it has NCUA insurance. And this will just protect your money up to $250,000. If you have more than that, well, that's a good problem to have. And just make sure you have then multiple institutions that can hold your money so that all of that money is federally insured.
There you go. If you guys have any questions you want us to answer on a future episode, drop them down in the comment section below. Spencer, this was so much fun. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks so much, Nikita.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'm Nikita Turk. Thank you so much for joining us on Control Finance. There's been a lot in the news lately about bank failures, so if you want more information about that, be sure to visit nerdwallet.com. We have a bunch of articles that'll break it down for you even more. I'll see you next time.